People deluded, I'm back again. Yeah, Fridays equals Q&A days is a shock. I'm doing this before Friday for most people with common sense, but back onto business. Thank you for the questions as usual, people. I can't ask myself questions. You guys know I love to do this, and I clearly love for me to answer your questions, so thank you very much each and every time. Please get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest in terms of just supporting the thing, adding more questions for next week and things like that. But let's crack on. Now, some good questions, man. Where to start? Let's start with Teki Terrera because he's got quite a few, so let's smash his out. My guy, consistent, always adding positive thoughts and things like that via Twitter. You know, you can always get in my DMs and send questions in and ask me questions, man. It's not a problem. But you've asked me a lot of questions, and some are quite tricky, but let's go, man. Start with the light one. First, you've asked, what centre-half should we go for? Well, there's a lad, I can't remember his name, but a lad of African descent that plays for Getafe. I did a video on him. I've been still trying to his progress because I like him. I would love us to go for Akanji or Diallo. They're both rough around several edges. I think Diallo's probably better than Akanji. I think Akanji's got several issues, probably especially in the air. But probably rough diamonds of that nature. Who else is there? I think Manolas has issues like most of us Arsenal centre halves when he's dragged into wide positions, as shown with Bale against Roma. But he's someone I like the look of as well. So off the top of my head, probably Demlot. I like the look of Anderson. I hope I said his name correctly, of Sampdoria. But I've only been preying him deeply this season, to be honest. I think he's played at the Under-21 Championship, but he didn't catch my eye like that. So I'm not going to lie to you. So yeah, if money weren't a thing, obviously for me it would be a Skriniar, Jimenez, people of that nature. But money's a thing for Arsenal, my guy. So if that's your first question. You've asked me for my most overrated footballer of all time. That's a tough one, to be honest with you. I don't really consider anyone overrated, man. Because on one hand, you could rub out everybody and say they're overrated. You could say, if you look at numbers, you could say Zidane's overrated. If you look at a lack of Champions League, you could say R9's overrated, even in terms of scoring in the Champions League. Many stats and many things don't do people justice in it, especially when you look at periods. Some people even say the great Figo's overrated. So it's tough, man. I don't really think that off the top of my head, I'd have to give it more thought, to be honest with you. Most overrated footballer. It's tough, man. It's tough. I can't give you overrated footballer at this moment in time, but I can give you the most overrated footballer I believe that I've ever watched play for Arsenal, and it's going to be Hileb. I know a lot of people could get onto me. Probably Hileb or Alex Song. Not that people thought these lot were world class. It's just Song. I love Song, but people even called for us to sign Song again. I mean, Song was a rubbish defensive midfielder. No disrespect to him. I mean, his best highlights are him assisting goals. And Hileb, I like Hileb, but I mean, I can't understand why he's held in such high regard by Arsenal fans. Obviously I could understand, but to the degree he is, I mean, he was a good player, good link-up play, poetry in motion. I'm not underestimating how much of a good player he is, but rarely scored, hardly any ounce of assists, really and truly, unless I stand corrected. Yeah, man, so probably the most overrated player I've seen play for Arsenal is probably Hileb. Obviously, there's been worse footballers, but yeah, man, off the top of my head, I should have been better than him as well. Probably going to upset a lot of people in the comments, but it is what it is, my guy. Next, you've asked me best game I've been to. I've been to quite a few good games, a couple good North London derbies. Arsenal versus Chelsea when Gallas scored the winner for us. I enjoy. It's nothing to do with Arsenal, but when I used to work at Spurs, obviously you get to watch their games. So I've watched Spurs versus Liverpool, and Suarez was there a couple of times. The game Liverpool versus Spurs when Basong scored on the opening day of the season. I think Moreno might have scored as well. Or if they're two separate games, I went to both. Spurs versus City. I went to Spurs versus Manchester United. As you can expect, obviously I was more or less a runner/waiter. I didn't really do the waiting side, so I was taking full advantage of this. I'd say Chelsea versus, who was it in the Champions League? They played someone. I want to say Juventus, but it was someone playing in a white kit, but it weren't Juventus. My friend supports Chelsea, Italian guy, and he took me a couple of years ago. And I can't lie, the atmosphere was quite good, to be fair. I actually say West Ham versus Arsenal a couple of years ago as well. Again, Gala season when we bottled a 2-goal lead when we was wearing a white kit. That was a good game. Brazil versus Chile was good. But I'm actually going to say, for me, off the top of my head, because I'm going to go with the first ones. I'd say it'd have to be the 2 FA Cup finals, specifically first 2014, because I was there. I was actually sat in the whole section with my nephew. We're there. We're 2-0 down. I've paid an arm and a leg for these tickets. Essentially, I'm not the richest. And we're 2-0 down in terms of trophy drought. Fans, the other fans of Hull. Obviously, we're not Hull fans, but we're surrounded by them. They're singing, "Same old Arsenal, why you always cheating?" We've beaten the Arsenal, this, that, and the other. Some fans are starting to fight each other. I'm looking at the team. I don't really see any leaders at this moment in time. And then I saw Santi Cazorla do his thing, and obviously we came back and we scored. And just to be there when we've ended the trophy drought would probably be that. I'd probably say Villa, the FA Cup final against Villa, because we was expected to win. I know we'd win. We scored some good goals, man. Pardon me, people. Tired, man. It's been a long day, but sorry. Yeah, we scored some good goals, man. The Alexis goal, I know he's a pagan now, but Alexis's finish will always stand with me. And I think Theo Walcott scored a good goal in that game as well. For some reason, I'll always remember Oxlade setting up, I believe it. Was it Giroud set up? Yeah, it might have been. I could be wrong. But yeah, it'd probably be them, to be fair with you, my guy. Haven't been to many football matches, as you can see, but hope to go to a bit more. Best goal I've seen live as well, you've asked me, and I'd probably say Alexis versus Villa, to be fair with you, or maybe, yeah, probably that, to be fair, or just for the context. Aaron Ramsey's goal in 2014, to be fair with you. You've asked me my favourite kit this season. If it's of all teams, then Arsenal's, I don't even know if it's technically our away shirt, you know, the lime green one, I rate that one highly. I'm feeling United's black kit. I like Chelsea's. Blue's my favourite colour, so I'll always like anything in blue. I was about to say support anything that is in blue, but man, I ain't a Chelsea fan. Anything Chelsea get bun. So yeah, man, I'd say them kits there. I think Barcelona's kit that they wore against PSV is a good one as well. Yeah, man. Juventus's kit more or less looks the same every year, but I like it. So you asked me my favourite kits this season, and of all time, that's a tough one as well, man. I'd say my favourite kit of all time probably Arsenal 2004 with the yellow kit with the blue stripes, man. Because I've got pictures in other kits and stuff like that, but I'd probably say that's the kit that stands out in me and that I can remember fully when it was bought. I just remember being gassed wearing it and stuff like that. I just remember like my name and the number 7. I've still got it somewhere. It's probably in storage, but somewhere it's there in it. So I'd say that kit, man. And I really rocked with that kit. You've asked me. Well, I've already answered the centre half question, so that's you sorted, my guy. Shout out to Teki Torreira. Rax has asked me another one, always offering kind words of advice and support and things like that. Big up yourself, man. He's asked me thoughts on the left back Dominic Thompson. It remains to be seen if he can make it at Arsenal, but what I like about him, he's got a positive attitude. He's very resilient. He's a strong character because I've seen him get ripped in games. He keeps going. He's decent going forward. Again, it's tough to make it here. He's very much a steady Eddie, but he's all right in my opinion, man. He can improve. He's all right, man. He's a very honest defender. I like him, man. I like him. So that would be my thoughts. And I've seen that he's travelled for the Europa League. So even if him, Gilmore, Jean-Jules, I believe also Tutu, and I could be wrong about Saka, but I remember seeing reports of Saka going literally when the pictures were shown at Arsenal, when they got on the plane. Even if none of them get on, it's a good look for them. It gives them something to fight with. It lets them feel like first team players. It lets them gives them hunger to believe that Unai Emery and the coaching staff, even when we think they're not watching and they're dealing with the Premier League stuff, they are watching. So if we keep working hard and we get a bit of luck, things can happen for you. So that would be my thoughts on him. So it's nice to see he travelled. And you've also asked me, I'm so tired. Apologies, people. It's been a long week. You've asked, is it unfair to pin all of Raheem Sterling's success on Pep Guardiola? Yes, of course. Pep Guardiola has made the difference in that he's given him positive reinforcement, whether he's playing good or making mistakes, that he's got the belief that he's a top player. So there's that. Obviously, he's helped him with from a tactical approach, the areas he should be in. Obviously, not just Pep, the coaching staff, they've enabled him to improve his finishing, getting in the right positions, link up play, not just him, a bunch of them. So a lot of that stuff is down to Pep. But I think similar to Danny Rose, with Pochettino, people can be disrespectful. Pep Guardiola doesn't have a controller and he's controlling Raheem Sterling from the subs bench. At the end of the day, it's down to Raheem Sterling to be intelligent enough to take on the information that's being given in terms of, okay, Raheem, you need to stop getting in this area, you need to get into that area if you want to score. Taking that on and applying consistency in that regard. It's down to Raheem Sterling to ultimately, I don't know, if he's trying to work on his shooting, practicing an hour, 2 hours every day after training, and things like that. It's down. Raheem Sterling puts in the hours. Every finish you see him score is the result of him missing in training 10 times. So blood, sweat and tears, you have to give it to him. At the end of the day, he's the one playing out there. He's the one actually improved. He's the one actually taking on the advice. So it's a case of 50-50. Football always deals with in extremes, so it's never 50%. Football's not a rational sport more time. Look at when teams win, it's always the players. When teams do badly, it's what the managers are doing. It's never the manager doing well when the team wins, or the players doing badly, not the manager when the team loses. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rules within any argument, but you get the point I'm making to you guys. So that would be that. It's unfair, my guy. You're right on that. Next question, Igal's asked, are Spurs in danger of losing Eriksen, and would you go for him? I wouldn't say they're in necessary danger. I mean, he's tied down for in regards to his contract, I believe. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He's enjoying his time at Spurs, and he's only going to leave if, like Coutinho, in my opinion, people are prepared to pay the 100-odd million, which I rate Coutinho, and I don't care for who's better out of Eriksen and Coutinho, but if Coutinho went for 100-odd mid, then Eriksen's got to go for something similar. As to where he would join, I'm not too sure. I think Eriksen's destined for the PSGs, the Madrids, the Barças, the Juventuses, and all of these clubs, and it's down to them to play 100-odd million. Barcelona looks stocked in midfield, especially in Eriksen's positional players that can do that. Juventus has just spent 100-odd million on Ronaldo. Obviously, I think Eriksen could be fitted in your Juventus side, but you get the point in it. Madrid probably need him the most in terms of a rebuild. It remains to be seen if they want to go for him. They're always linked with him. So I wouldn't say they're in danger, but he is someone you would think, similar to Torreira at Arsenal now, and Coutinho once upon a time at Liverpool, Hazard at Chelsea. There's players, Kante at Chelsea too, maybe De Gea, well, no, obviously De Gea, depending on how you classify it, Pogba as well. In fact, Pogba as well. There's players that are sought after by the top teams in Europe, and every season rumours of them leaving is going to intensify, whether they're in bad form and they've had enough of being where they are, or they're in good form and it's time to take the jump up. So I wouldn't say they're in danger, but if money talks, you would imagine Levy and them lot would find it incredibly tough to get rid of that. And look at what I'm doing because of an idiot. I've pressed the wrong thing, and I think you just heard one video playing. But yeah, man, hopefully that answers your question. Main man Ubbers asked me, what's your long-term replacements for Ribery and Robin? Could it be Leon Bailey? You could say Bailey. You could actually say Jadon Sancho. You could say Julian Brandt. Coleman's obviously there already. They don't play in the same positions. I think Depay's better in some, I wouldn't say striker, but a central position. But you think Depay could be thrown into the mix with that. Maybe Nicolas Pepe on the basis of if he keeps developing. I'm not sure if Munich are having a look at him. Yeah, so them sort of lists, to be fair, you're correct on Bailey. And if I go for a wild one, I'd actually say Hazard. If I was them, I know he's all linked to Madrid and that, and he seems to only have his eyes on Madrid, so Munich probably don't have a chance. But if you're talking about rebuild and new eras and looking for someone to lead you, I'd probably go for him. They won't spend the money on Neymar, and I don't think Neymar, the sort of person Neymar is, and the sort of values that it looks with Bayern Munich and the way you need to conduct yourself at Munich, is a far cry from PSV, and it looks like it wouldn't be a good match. But I would consider Neymar as well. They just need someone to be the bravado sort of player. I know they got Lewandowski, but you get the point. Red Lacazette's asked, which three realistic signings for left back, centre half, and a winger should Arsenal go for? In regards to a winger, I can't lie, man. I answer this question almost every Q&A. In regards to a winger, I mean, what is realistic? If you can class Lozano as realistic, that would be the one for me personally. Centre half already said Darlow, or maybe Hermoso of Espanyol, or someone with a bit of a less reputation. Left back, I've liked Firpo. There's Kieran Tierney of Celtic. There's a couple. There's couple left backs out there that you could have a look at, but it's a difficult one, man. It depends what you class as realistic, because we're at a club that has to sell, allegedly selling players for peanuts, so we can bring in players for less than peanuts. But it is what it is. Oscar's asked me, name 2 established players you would like us to sign. Again, I don't know what you mean by established, but I'd say Labosca or Nicolo Barella of Caligari. Aslan Bakar has asked me, shout out to you, another consistent one. What's your thoughts on Cornet of Lyon and also Ndombele? Ndombele is a top midfielder, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't join either Manchester City, PSG, Bayern Munich, one of these big teams in the summer, which I have been believing for the last 18 months, to be honest with you. He's a big player and he shows it. I mean, he can win a ball back, he can tackle, and he's got excellent passing range and excellent playmaking ability, in my opinion. So he's got it all, man, to be a top midfielder, and it's scary how young he is. And it's actually scary how long it's taken him to break into the France team. It's testament to these strong options at France, but it's also testament. I mean, it's scary. I mean, it's not testament. It's scary how someone can deny that talent for so much long. And Cornet, I find him a bit frustrating. I think he's a good player. I think he would, outside the top 6, he might do very well for a Premier League club. I do think he could develop. But I think right now, in terms of his decision making, he can be frustrating. He shows you moments of brilliance, like his goal against City and a couple other times. But at times, he's a bit like Traore, his teammate Leon. They can be a bit hot and cold, and their decision making can make you angry. NBB's asked, which bench player in the Premier League do you think should be getting more minutes? I know he statistically played more minutes this season, but I'd probably say Phil Foden. And I don't know if he's been on the bench at any point for Crystal Palace, but I'd say Nia Kirby. I like him a lot, and I wanted Arsenal to sign him. I'd actually say Reece Oxford of West Ham. I mean, he was playing a decent amount at Gladbach, and now he's not having a look in. So they would be my ones, to be fair with you. Darren Holidays asked me, have you seen anything of Tashik Matthews? He recently moved to Borussia Dortmund from Ajax Cape Town and played for the first team in a friendly match during the international break. I haven't seen him, my guy, but I will do my research, and I'm keen to learn about him. I don't know every player. I can't know every player, but yeah, hopefully that answers your thing, my guy. And finally, Alex Alert has asked, if Arsene Wenger came to your house for dinner, what 3 questions would you ask him? It's a difficult one, man. I'd probably say the first question is, how did you identify... I'd say the first question. How did you identify what you stood for in football? In the sense that I know what I stand for in football, but my ideas are constantly changing. Secondly, how did you inspire someone to give you a chance or have faith in you that you could be a manager? And probably ask him one regret or one hidden secret that that most Arsenal fans didn't know, whether that's some dodgy dealing, whether that's a player that we almost signed, if there is physically possible that there's a player that Arsenal haven't almost signed. Is there any secret offers? Is there anything that was done dirty with Glazides and them sort of guys there? So they would probably be my questions. You've also asked, finally as well, do you think Borussia Dortmund can win the league, or are they overachieving at the moment? I mean, anything's possible, to be honest with you. I mean, Munich are slipping away. If we look at the Bundesliga table, I don't think Munich have been in the best run of form, similar to Leverkusen when I've looked at the Bundesliga. But if we look at the table, I think things can change very quickly. All right, cool, bro, boy. I mean, it can be made up. I suppose Munich can make up 9 points. Dortmund are 30th. I mean, Dortmund, chance of a lifetime. Definitely can win it. It's down to them to keep consistency, motivated, not get too excited and things like that. Gladbach are down their heels, only 4 points behind them in 26 plays. Shout out to Eintracht as well for being third. Leipzig doing their thing. Julian Nagelsmann's joining them next year. So, based on that, it looks like some exciting project he could be a part of. But yeah, man, what can I say, people? Each and every time, look, go hard with the Q&A. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much, people. It means the world. Honestly, I'm out.